Okay. All right, so this is Tuesday, October 25th, 2022, 9 o'clock on call of Memphis County Commissioners Court of Order. As this one will call the roll.
Judge Gray.
Here.
Commissioner Here.
Here.
Commissioner Lisa.
Here.
Commissioner Leeson.
Here.
Commissioner Graham.
Here. Please join us.
Please remain standing for the end of the case. Commissioner Sullivan, will you do the honors?
Thank you. Our dear Father, first of all, we want to thank you for being able to live in this country, this county, and this state. Continue to bless these decisions that be made by this court today, that it be done in the citizens, for the citizens of this county and for this state. Continue to bless us with all your love that you have. Forgive us of our sins. Excuse me, yes, again. Amen.
Commissioners, item 1, emergency service minutes from the previous meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes and approve the minutes as presented.
Is there a second?
No, second.
Commissioner Here, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item 2, line item, there are no line item transfers. Moving to item 3, the outstanding bills.
So, we want to go ahead and pay the phone bills that came in late. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the outstanding bills in the amount of $760,898.04 and include the phone bills that we received.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Graham, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. I'd like to give you just a moment's liberty to discuss the next item. I think we can give Ed Oakley great credit for foresight and vision when it came to this idea of a community paramedic program and the benefits that the county would receive. Really, I think in the beginning, it was almost considered more of a physical benefit in reduced ambulance runs and things of that nature. It seems to me that it is turned into much more. When Mr. Patton was applying for the job and interviewing, and he was talking about how the program would ramp up and what he could see in the future, and I was shaking my head during the interviews. I didn't see any way that it would grow like that. Even he thought it would take several months to ramp up, if you will, and have a client list. Nobody thought it would take 3 weeks, which is about what it took. There's members of both the ESD boards here today, and I wanted them here to thank all of them for all of their support. Once they had the foresight to hire the community paramedic, we got lucky. Commissioner James Holtzmeyer, former commissioner, sits on the Capital Area Housing Finance Corporation on behalf of Blanco County, and that organization over the years, even back when Commissioner Leeson's predecessor, Commissioner Mock, sat on the board, he would bring me and my predecessor, he would bring us small amounts of money where the finance corporation had dividends or whatever, they're nonprofit. And the county judge gets the opportunity to find causes for it. We have small amounts of money that we used for the housing authority, doing some replanning and things of that nature. And most recently, we got a large check Commissioner Soltmeyer obtained for us. And though I applaud ESD for everything, I'm certainly not denigrating anybody. They thought about all the equipment and hiring the person and all that, and kind of forgot about a vehicle. And so we used the money, the county gave the money, or the county designated the money to the ESDs for the vehicle that Mr. Patton now uses. And I dare say that there's not a more technologically advanced vehicle in the country, really. I mean, I don't know what else you could do to that vehicle, unless unless the CIA had it. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And so we're pretty proud of that. But Mr. Soltmeyer came up recently and was able to come up with another similar donation. And I have decided that we should direct it to the second paramedic. The ESDs didn't budget for it because nobody thought the program would be so as successful as fast as it is, and they are. And so we've got an opportunity to supplement the program and fund it. And then if you could come up, and Mr. Soltmeyer, if you could come up, I think Mr. Soltmeyer would like to give you a check for the benefit of the two ESDs that fund us. It's fine. In the amount of $50,000 to finance and provide us with a Blanco County with a second paramedic for the benefit of all the citizens, traveling public, and anybody that finds themselves in Blanco County.
It's just an honor for me to be able to serve on this board. I feel like it's a board that does some good, and I really am thankful at the Board of Bank Court for letting me serve on that board, this board, so we're able to come up with some funds that I believe that helps the whole county, not just one section, but every citizen of this county. So here's this check for $50,000. Thank you.
Anything you want to say?
No, I mean, just like the judge mentioned, it's been very successful. We were looking at our reports. The program has not been active for 6 months yet, and at the end of September, he was up to 752 responses. So, as you mentioned, we never expected it to grow this quickly, and this is going to make a large difference in expanding the program. And it's been a tremendous success. So, I mean, how we deliver healthcare and mental health care in Lincoln County is astronomically different than it was a year ago. So we're very thankful for this program.
One of the most unusual or interesting things that I didn't foresee is because he is so well equipped in that vehicle, and because he's out and about so much, he sometimes finds himself being literally the first responder. And if I'm an ambulance driver or ambulance worker, and I get on the scene and the patient's already stabilized, good for me, then I just get to do a transport or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that he can be the first on scene sometimes is even, I mean, that wasn't what was contemplated, but it has worked out.
Yeah, it's a large force multiplier. I mean, when things are busy, there's times when he may be the only one available, or there's times because he's on the street all day that he's the first one there. There's times when it makes most sense that he just loads somebody up in his vehicle and takes them to the hospital. Saves a lot of time and energy, and Does a lot of good.
And, can I just I want you to make sure I don't miss anybody, but from the ESD one, on that side of this program, I think Mr. O'Bannon.
Mr. O'Bannon.
And Mr. Nega. And then on the ESD south side, I see Mr. Struck.
Mr. Struck.
Anybody else?
That's it.
Well, thank all of you gentlemen for being here, and, thank you all for funding this program as you do, and supporting it as you do, because it's an amazing program. I thank you, sir, for bringing us good fortune.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, moving on to item 5, our annual contract with Will Firms for an outside. Is that what you?
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the county judge to enter into a contract with F. Blocker, PC, to perform the outside audit for FY 2021-22.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Randall, discussion. We budgeted, their prices have gone up as everything else. Nothing else that costs them more than I hear from Douglasburg. But I think that we will be able to wire out and transfer the money out of professional services or somewhere in the non-departmental to cover it. It's not a huge increase. It's the kind of increases we see in everything else in this past year. So with that, unless there's further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 6, insurance renewals. I need authorization so that we can apply for our insurance renewal.
Make a motion to authorize the county judge to sign insurance renewals for auto liability, auto physical damage, general liability, public officials liability, and law enforcement liability.
Is there a second? Second. Commissioner Weir, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This next item, item 7, is something near and dear to my heart because we've been without the additional conference room across the street for a long time now, and we really love to get it back. Our new maintenance supervisor has, I said he has done the legwork to find and secure and install a storage container. And we talked about ways to maybe make it relatively attractive so that it doesn't detract from the next facility. We've checked with the manufacturers, and Ms. Spees got the specs for us, and it appears that we will be more than the tolerances for temperature climate control with how we're planning on putting it together. And it should be, because it's a 40-foot one, it should be large enough to hold all of these machines and things when she's not using them for voting purposes. The price you're probably looking at is, as you see, it's $73.50. And that includes, I think that it's a little more expensive because we need an extra special lock so that, because a lot of people worry about the integrity of the voting system. And so we want to make sure that it's as secure as possible. And so there's extra locking capabilities on this unit. And then I think we're going to insulate it on the inside, and it will have an air conditioning unit to keep it from getting too hot. So,
I'll make a motion to authorize the purchase of a 40-foot storage container to house election equipment.
is there a second? Second. Mr. Graham, discussion. Just one more thing. Russell has appeared to be able to figure out how to situate it so we don't have to change any of the sprinkler system, other than maybe steer it differently, so they'll spray on the unit. But, it appears it's gonna just perfectly fit, you know. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. November special, this special meeting, I can't remember if we changed all this to regular or not, but in any case, Ms. Swift and I, were wondering if you would be interested in, waiving the second, Commissioners Court meeting in November, which is 3 days before Thanksgiving. And so many people, tend to try to get off, would like to be off, but they didn't necessarily have to cover this. So, that's the proposal. And you'll notice the next item, if you do approve this item, the next item would be about paying utility bills prior to a future meeting.
I'll make a motion to cancel the November special meeting normally held on the fourth Tuesday of the month.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
For November. Correct.
Yes.
And Commissioner Eager seconded. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item 9, authorizing payment of utility bills prior to the next commission meeting.
I move to authorize the county treasurer to pay the utility bills and other expenses that are due and payable prior to the next Commissioners Court.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Wilson. Discussion. Are we, Ms. Wood, are we early on this one? Because the next Commissioners Court meeting is November the 9th. What is this intended to be authorized you to pay between November the 9th and December the 9th?
Yes.
Is that's really the
Yes.
gist of the motion?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Records management policy for the district court. Is someone a formality?
I'll make a motion to acknowledge the records management policy and declaration of compliance by the district clerk.
Is there a second?
No second.
Mr. Eager, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 11. Is this already in here? I see it.
Yes.
Yes, Judge, back here.
Item behind the chair. So they, as you know, recently made a full-time position out of the investigator slot. He has identified a candidate to be a reserve investigator, which would just be free assistance for the county attorney's office. It's not a financial obligation on the county, but it requires your approval to add the employee.
I make a motion to authorize the creation of a reserve investigator position for the county attorney's office.
Is there a second? Second. Mr. Berry for discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 12. Central Square quote and maintenance agreement for Old Cat.
Make a motion to authorize the county judge to accept and sign the Central Square quote and maintenance agreement for additional mobile CAD licenses outlined in the capital equipment section of the 2022-2023 budget.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Eager, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 13, the Central Square quote and maintenance agreement for the Pro Attorney Casey program.
I make a motion to authorize the county judge to accept and sign the Central Square quote and maintenance agreement for Portable PS Pro Attorney KCB as outlined in the capital equipment section of the 2022-23 budget.
Is there a second? Second. Mr. Greenberg, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 14, the maintenance agreement for the field training online.
I'll make a motion to authorize the county judge to accept and sign the Central Square quote and maintenance agreement for the field training online as outlined in the capital equipment section of the 22-23 budget.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Wood, discussion. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item 15, specs for a duty rifle for the precinct 1 constable's office.
I move we consider approval of the specs for the purchase of a duty rifle for precinct 1 constable office as outlined in the capital equipment portion of FY 22-23 budget.
Is there a second?
I'll say.
Commissioner Weir, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 16 involves the solid waste grant, but it's not I don't think it's a company, it's more of a constable official who's grown into our county environmental officer. And beyond that, Mr. Davis here, and I see Ms. Fisher here. If you have questions, hopefully one of them can help us.
I make a motion to authorize the expenditure of precinct 1 constable official for the items specified in the approved budget of the grants awarded by the Capital Area Council of Government Solid Waste Program.
Is there a second?
I'll say.
Commissioner Easter, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 17. Shelter for the community.
So Commissioner Weir and myself have been working back and forth, and Commissioner Weir came up with a cost on a new shelter here for the command vehicle. Tommy, you want to give an update on this?
Yes, sir. We went in first and got a price on it, as we, in the last meeting, we talked about it. In fact, we had to refigure the insulation, and so the number came out to, with insulation, it was $35,008.26. And that is turnkey on the side. And the time frame on it, I believe, is 3 weeks.
So with that being said, this unit here will be housed in precinct 3 yard. It will be specifically for the command vehicle. Give room for the command vehicle to be parked in and keep it under the weather, out of the weather, and with the insulation, it will help throughout the cold months as well.
What about the competing bid or quote?
So the other bid we received was from Mueller, which was a weld-up building. It had the insulation, the only thing it didn't have was it didn't have the 3 windows. And the price was 17, and then the additional installation of it would be an additional 20 to put it at 37,000.
So,
This is still a cheaper route, and you get 3 windows.
and is it a true apples to apples? Is there insulation?
The insulation is in there. The only difference between the apples to apples will be I'm assuming the gauge of the tin.
Gauge of 10, and one of them has red on it, the other one's got the newer has.
Well, does that matter to?
This particular, and
I've seen some of their products, and the timing of it is one of the benefits to this, as opposed to the weld-up. Trying to get somebody to do the installation of the weld-up would be back in a time frame that might be 6 to 8 months out.
this will be the same structure that you've seen at the sheriff's department, and you've seen in our precinct yard. And even last time it was being tested, it stand up well. I like it.
Okay. I got comments, but I can make them after we get a motion, if you want to make a motion.
So I guess prior to making a motion, what is the amount of 35,000? The funding source for that is the biggest concern, question.
Well, I'm still smarting from the previous meeting where we had budgeted funds, but we voted not to use them for a purpose they were budgeted for. And which made me wonder why we would consider using funds that were budgeted for something else. On the one hand, but on the way in this morning, I was thinking about it and taking a mental inventory. And I know that I can't think of hardly any fire engine, fire truck, brush truck, ambulance, or other emergency vehicle that isn't kept kept where it can be climate controlled. And this thing's got so many electronics on it and such that certainly justifies it.
So this thing does, I mean, there's 8 computers on in this bus. There's approximately 8 radios in this bus. So the dollar amount of just the equipment inside the bus, well, exceeds 100,000.
And you're not counting the bus.
No, that's just the equipment.
And you do have to get past comment you made last meeting about the fact that it's been kept by its prior owner for years under basically the carport RV shed.
Correct.
So,
And that it has the previous owner, Williamson County, it was directly under just a basic carport. It was not insulated, it was not anything else.
I think it's that basic carport, this size thing, it's still gonna run us, what, 19 to 20,000?
Correct. Now, we will say that the reason that Williamson County is getting away from it is the maintenance that they've been putting into it. So whether or not that's a consideration of who raise more maintenance or not, I don't know.
We have just recently received a considerable amount of unexpected revenue, or are going to shortly between the opioid settlement, some more opioid settlement money. And then with the refund, what is it, the repayment of money that we paid on the Motorola installations, there is some other funding available in our CARES Act money. So begrudgingly, I have to say that we can cover the 35,000 with other funds without having to go through a budget amendment, declare an emergency, and all that stuff. So it's doable.
Well, and another thing to keep in mind is this all came about at the very end of our budget cycle, so we was not planning all of this. It's not like that we had this over a year and we're just now thinking about it. It came to us after the fact. So with that being said, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the purchase of a shelter for the command vehicle from in the amount of $35,008.26.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Weir, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item 18. A maintenance agreement for the playground.
Yes, sir. And what I'm looking for is approval for a maintenance agreement to be signed between Playback Greenhouses and the county. We have a 90-degree turn on Old Candade Road, goes right around the corner of their property. And it's a incline or decline, I don't know which direction it's going, but it's also a very winding turn with the cedar on the inside of the fence that goes up around the turn that opens back up. But with the increased traffic of concrete trucks, framing trucks, truss trucks, all of this coming back and forth, they have a tendency to cut inside in the corner. So what I'm asking is to get approval for us to contract the company to go and turn the sewer out from under the oak trees around that corner, open the sideline back up, where people have a chance to see through there before they get into the corner. And just open that sideline up longer. It'd be a lot safer if we could do that.
This agreement looks to have the fingerprints of the county attorney's office.
Yes, sir.
So, they provided it for you?
Yes, sir. It's very simple. We're giving us one-time deal to go in there and 30 days to cut the cedar out, also open it up and safe. So what I'd like to do is make a motion to authorize maintenance agreement between Michael County and Clear Creek for the sole purpose of clearing brush and vegetation growing alongside the road.
Is there a second?
I'll say.
Mr. Eager, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 19, surplus property in precinct 1.
I've got 3 categories that I would like to declare surplus property, or so we can auction them off in gut deal. So I'd like to make a motion to declare them surplus property.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Grammer, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 20, surplus property precinct 2.
Yes, sir, I have 4 concrete culverts, 2 culvert ends, and 2 manholes that we'd like to declare surplus.
Is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Weisman, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 21, an interlocal with Capcom regarding the regional education system.
Yes, sir, this is a basic interlocal agreement between Glenn County and Catco for the regional notification system. So I'd like to make a motion to authorize the county judge to sign the interlocal agreement between Catco and Glenn County for the use of the Catco regional notification system.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Weir seconds. Discussion. So for some of us less knowledgeable, the regional notification system, that's what?
So the regional notification system allows us to do a reverse 911 call for all of Blanton County. So anytime we have an incident or something of that nature, we can draw it out on a map and we can send out mass notifications.
Unfortunately, am I right? Unfortunately, it's only for landlines, or did that change?
It is for landlines and it's for people that have registered their cell phones.
Okay, so you draw a circle and their cell phone's registered, it's in that circle, they're gonna get that.
Correct. And if you have a parent or an older friend or whatever that you're trying to maintain, you can actually set your cell phone up to multiple locations. So you would be getting notified if there was an incident in that area as well.
How do they know where they can register? You know, or
It's on the website and it's in the tax offices. I've got billboards in there that they can go and register their cell phones.
Yeah, don't Capcom put out flyers sometimes they're in various offices?
They do, and they also do news articles on TV. There's commercials for this on TV as well. Out of the Austin area.
Motion by Commissioner Weisman, second by Commissioner Weir, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item 22, preliminary plat.
Yes, sir, this is a preliminary plat that was first presented to us, and it had a lot of corrections that had to be made by the groundwater conservation district. All those corrections have been made, and with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve the preliminary plat for the Longview Estate subdivision when all the fees have been paid and everything's been filed.
Is there a second? Second. Mr. Grammer, discussion. You know, I'm sure you all do too, I get comments frequently about concerns about the groundwater and development in Blanco County. So what were the conservation district's concerns?
The way, Connie might have to help me on this one, but the way that it was, the way the report was written, it didn't meet the qualification that the way that the Ron has it spelled out in our rules and regulations.
And a lot of this one, they had copy and pasted from another report and it didn't apply to this particular subdivision, so they rewrote it and Ron accepted it all when they corrected everything.
At what point do we worry about reports being written to fit the bill and be approved, whether they're,
When our groundwater conservation district brings it to our knowledge and says that this is insufficient. I mean, other than that, I don't know how else we can.
he's the expert.
He is the expert. And he is now our Region K member. I don't know how long he's been doing that. James could do that as well. But, I mean, he is our go-to guy. So without his approval, his blessing.
This is a real good example of that. I mean, when you look on the first pass, when you reject it, listed out every item, red line, came back, fixed it, gave it a report, so that's the proper process.
I just hope that the water is supporting the
Oh, I agree.
report.
Yeah, the line is important.
All right. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, motion carries. Item 23 is property precinct 4.
16-foot trailer that used to be used in the recycling program is no longer being used. It's listed for sale on the, so I move we declare this trailer surplus property authorized.
Is there a second?
I'll say.
Commissioner Eager. I looked at this trailer on pictures and it's pretty rough. Does it, are the axles being, does it actually?
It needs tires.
Yeah. Does it?
Oh, yeah, it's good. It pulls straight out, but it needs tires. It was just a regular old flatbed that was cage was added. The purpose of that was for collection of cargo.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item 24, preliminary plat. Commissioner Graham.
This is the subdivision that Dale has been working on. I believe we've got everything on track. There were some issues that's all been resolved. What they need is the preliminary plat for the private road subdivision. This is located off 165, between Blanco and Hayes County line. And I think everything is in order, and I would move that we approve the preliminary plat, private road subdivision.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Weir, discussion.
So, two questions. One, this was the one that the original, track number 1 was below 5 acres.
Yes.
And they described or discussed about putting a commercial
Right.
piece of property right there. That's no longer, it's all residential, correct?
Yes.
So our text dot permit matches all residential. So
All
the
that's been correct.
second question I have, the 30-foot road easement that's still drawn on this plat, should that come off?
And Dale has that been resolved.
That's gonna be, that'll be vacated and removed in the final plat, not shown in the final plat.
Yes.
It's taken care of, being taken care of, it's good.
That doesn't mean our regulations, right?
I'm not sure.
Why? I thought, I mean, it's a public road going through, is that not?
No, just a piece. That,
When you say an easement, I'm looking at, it looks like it goes through 1, 2, 3 tracks. 1, 4, 5.
okay, Dale.
Yeah, we all, then,
So what was the question?
are you abandoning that easement, the 30-foot easement that's showing on the preliminary? You are, so the final plat won't show.
Yeah, that's correct, it's going to be vacated.
understanding, this easement was originally for a property that's back behind,
That's correct, it's a secondary neighbors, for the adjacent properties.
which actually has a road, I can't remember the road name, but,
Bypass.
okay.
Okay,
We're okay as long as that comes off on the final.
anything else? All right, well, then, all I'm gonna add is, I said it last time, I'll say it again. It's such an imaginative name. Private road subdivision. But with that said, Commissioner Greenberg's motion, Commissioner Wood's second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Burn ban. So I recall, Gillespie County yesterday added burn ban next door. In fact, it looks like we're surrounded by burn bans. And today is the last day
Yes.
of the one currently in place in Lincoln County. Anybody have any thoughts?
Yeah, I don't have Commissioner, 22nd. So we need to put the burn ban, just continue the burn ban until, December 13th. Or November 8th, we can see if we can make between. I'll make a motion to, continue the burn ban until November 8th, till then.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Weir, discussion.
At noon, please.
And then,
All right, since you're, abbreviating the time period for it, I have a note here to ask you all about something, but it's a little premature, but you need to be thinking about it anyway. The lights spectacular folks have come before the commission court already and asked for permission to do fireworks, and I think generally it said, yeah, you can do them, but not under a burn ban. It's possible we'll be under a burn ban, and I have mixed feelings. There's the safety issue, I don't see that, and the safety issue of, fireworks in a municipal setting, in an extreme drought, it's got its issues. On the other hand, for some reason or other, it's setting the fireworks off in that concrete parking lot with the fire department using it as a training facility, a training session. I don't know if that's good enough. I do know that the fireworks draws a lot of people for that event. That event was just getting back on its feet last year after COVID, and it's a big deal. So I have mixed feelings on it, and I guess I'm planning to see with you all that if the burn ban don't get any moisture, and the burn ban continues, you want to leave open the possibility that I could allow it if we get rain between the time you set the next burn ban and the Friday night after Thanksgiving. I think that's any fireworks on. Something for you to think about. But with that said, unless there's further discussion, we have a motion to extend the burn ban until November the 9th at November 8th again. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? So,
I was just gonna ask if that particular, event can be monitored like a control burn or considered something, so.
well, that's why I was wishing Matt was here, although Matt's not JCBFD, and that's who will be in charge of that. It's a question that we can ask between now and November. Okay. Okay? All opposed? Motion carries. Item 26.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Is there a second? Second. Discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.